Pikachu here, the damage going to come.
I can't believe this guy.
It'll be very tricky. Look at that shockwave going to land for XPNX, and it looks like Sackstate just going to wipe this 3v3. Oh, big play out of Garrett. Monster kill for Venti. Sackstate going to go ace for nothing.
Huge flash up. Oh, the collar.
Venti is popping off here. He's got another one. It's a triple kill for Venti. It's a monster kill for Venti. It's so insane what this guy is doing on the champ right now. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. A monster. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, hello and welcome to today's coverage of Sacramento State Esports. I'm Nick the Lights Azevedo. Joining me on the cast today is Anthony Montesquieu. How are you doing today?
Oh my god, I'm here. I'm ready for a crazy series. Thanks for having me on, Nick.
Thanks. Super excited to be here today. This one's going to be an absolute giga-banger between Sacramento State and Northern Arizona University. You want to run us through the lineups real quick?
Yeah, definitely. Starting for our own home team, Green Boys, we got Jay Justin in the top lane, Bamo in jungle, XPNX in the mid lane, Venti as ADC, and then Garrett in support. For NAU, it's I believe their starting roster will be Caw I'm a Bird in the top lane, Funbari Onsen in jungle, Fernet running mid, Piccolo in the ADC position, and then Twig rounding it out in support.
Yeah, and you mentioned their starting lineup for today. This is a team that's come with a lot of different looks throughout the season. This is the roster that they've played most of their games in the Big Sky Conference with thus far. But the other one that we kind of see is we see Night Saint holding down that mid lane position from time to time. And when they do that, they'll often even have to send, not have to, but they opt to send Fernet, their normal mid laner, down into the ADC position, and then Piccolo swaps over to support. They'll also run the normal Piccolo Twig bot lane with Night Saint in the mid lane. So we'll have to see if they adjust their look throughout the series as we get through more games. But I did also want to mention that all 10 of the players that you just ran through, Monty, were elected to the Big Sky All-Conference either first, second, or third team. So if this concept is something that you guys might not be familiar with, you know, like in pro sports or something like that, we'll see you know, an MVP selected. You'll see an all-conference first team and second team selected. It's basically just the best 5 players in each role selected here. So this was voted on by the players, the coaches, basically all of the staff from all of the teams throughout the Big Sky Conference. And as you can see on your screen there, now we have XPNX, our mid laner, selected to the All-Pro third team, along with Twig, NAU support, selected to the third team for the Big Sky Conference. Our AD carry, Venti, winning that MVP award for himself. He also naturally was selected to the All-Conference first team, along with his support, Garrett. And then on the All-Conference second team, which you'll see in a moment, we have our top side in there with Justin, All-Conference second team top laner, and Bamo, All-Conference second team jungler. And now, seeing as how Venti, our own homeboy, won the MVP award this year, we have a little video prepared that we'd love to show you guys. Celebrating this achievement for our boy Venti.
Oh, but CC's there.
The sun going to come down. He may have bitten off more than he can chew here. The damage going to come.
I can't believe this guy. 1v4, he picked up the kill. Almost a double. And gets away. Oh, the feather blade caller.
Oh my word, Venti's flashing it. He's got 1. He's got 2. Could this be the third? It's a triple kill for Venti. It's a quadra kill for Venti as soon as he picks up the bloblets here. Unbelievable. This man's Caitlyn is something else. Venti picking up another one for himself. Quadra kill for Venti. Sac State going to go ace for nothing. Hide super low, but doing so much damage. Venti 1,000 gold going over to your Samir there. He's got another ulti. Going to pick up 2. That's a triple kill for him. That's a quadra kill for Venti. The Inferno Trigger going to be unleashed, and it is slowly chipping down the health bars of Montana. Montana's on the great low. Venti is popping off here. He's got another one. He's gonna pick up.
And then stolen by Mamo.
Oh no! So I hope you guys enjoyed that little video. Let's all, you know, big round of applause for our boy bringing home such a prestigious award like that. So cool to see. We're really proud of our guy. And outside of that, I didn't really talk about the NAU guys too terribly much, but you saw Call I'm a Bird is going to be the all-conference top lane, and Funbari Onsen going to be the all-conference jungler. And then you have Fernet and Piccolo both making all-conference second team in that mid and AD carry position. So super cool to see that there. So we've got Clash of Titans today going on, going to be an absolute banger. What do you think, judging by that game that the series that we played against them back in week 4, what do you think Sac State's going to have to change up this time around to be able to bring home the dub, Monty?
I think there's a lot of talk after the last time we played NAU I think a lot of it was on just kind of draft planning, because when you play against teams that bring in such a flexible such flexible champ pools, you need to get a good idea of how you're going to draft, what they're probably going to pick, lots of kind of mind game metagaming to figure that out. And I think our boys have probably done a lot of work over the last couple of weeks trying to figure out, all right, what's our champ pools, and what can we really play with to take these guys down.
For sure. Yeah. And then where do you think the big strong points are going to be for both teams going into this matchup? Do you think there's maybe a certain side of the map that one team maybe looks to play through and that the other maybe looks to play through the opposite side, or do you see it as being pretty balanced?
I want to say that we'll probably see, because the roster I think is a little bit different this time around. We'll probably see we usually see a lot of play around Sac State's bot side. And then we'll see if NAU wants to match that and kind of keep their ADC and support as relevant as we typically see Venti and Garrett. Or we might see them play the opposite side of the map, try to get Kama, Bird, and Fernet ahead early. I can see both being pretty viable.
For sure. Yeah. I think with this lineup that we're going to see today, you typically see a more balanced look out of NAU. And one second, I'm having a hard time getting into the lobby here to get into champ select.
Okay, go ahead and you should be good.
Okay, we're gonna cut to break really quick, one moment while we get into this, but we'll be right back with you guys. All right, sorry about that. We got it sorted. We are all loaded up into the lobby currently. We're going to be getting into this game shortly. As we had suspected, it is going to be NAU selecting red side for themselves, something that we didn't get to talk about too terribly much, but with that top side strength that we had discussed for this team earlier, with Kama Bird being such a rock for them, you know, they're generally going to look for red side when the opportunity presents itself, when they have the choice. That is going to be what they're looking towards most frequently, is that red side to get that R5 counter pick for their boy Kama Bird.
Yeah, and we have seen a lot of teams kind of look for a red side play against us, just because they do get, like I said, that counter pick, and just kind of looking to bully Jay Justin in that top lane. We had a couple games where I think they were perma-diving him in that top tower. So I mean, we'll see what happens as we're going in a draft.
For sure, yeah, and you know, with this one, there are a few very clear kind of priority picks for these two teams. As you can see, the Darius taken away already for Kama Bird. Not going to get his hands on that one today. And that's something that you were kind of looking for. Most likely, if you're a Sac State fan going into this game, you're almost certainly going to see the Darius banned away from Kama Bird. Just so oppressive up in that top lane. And then Garrett's Thresh getting some respect as well. Oh, Venti Zeri getting the respect it deserves. There it is, going to be on the chopping block for today. And I think Jinx is going to be a huge one for both of these teams as well. Both 80 carries, all three 80 carries really, that you could potentially see in this match. Very comfortable on the Jinx, and such a powerful champ in the current meta.
Ooh, a Rakan ban? We haven't really got to see Garrett on Rakan in a while. But definitely bad respect for the ban.
So there it is. What I was just talking about, the Jinx pick, been so huge. Ooh. And they're going to wipe that up for themselves immediately. Going to be answered back with Zillion and Hecarim. Something that I have to imagine Sac State was prepared for. You know, giving that over Hecarim, been Funbari's one of his staple champs this Big Sky regular season for sure. Look to it very, very frequently with his main 2 picks of the Evelyn and the Karthus off the table very frequently. And then we're going to see XPNX on Rise for the first time this split, going to open up some split pressure against this NAU lineup, potentially give them quite a lot of options paired with the Xin Zhao for Bamo.
Yeah, I do also like the Zillion pick here. We'll see what they round out this first part of the draft with, because it is a flex pick. It can be used as a or not. It looks like it's going mid.
Yeah, they show right away, and Sac State hasn't shown their support yet. They opted to pick mid there first round to answer the Zillion. So we could see even more bans thrown at Garrett, potentially get him off of some of those, playmaking supports, some of the stuff that he looks to very frequently to be able to have the go button in his hands for the team. We'll see. Maybe the call is something entirely different. Maybe they look to play a more balanced map state this time around, and Sac State going to be throwing more bans at Kaima Bird to whittle down his champ pool for what I expect will be that R5 counter pick.
Definitely. I mean, there's a good amount of options. I mean, they've taken out two pretty solid snowballing bullies in the set in the Darius. They got one more in the pocket. But I think Kaima Bird's pool is pretty deep.
It is quite deep for sure. So if you're Sac State in this position, the call is just to ban stuff that you don't have an answer to. And if Justin doesn't think that, he's got picks that really shut down Set or Darius, then that's probably why they're making the call for those things. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He is not going to be short on picks that can abuse the top lane there.
The Ash Hover was... I kind of almost like the Ash Hover a little bit more. I mean, you got Leona as a setup. Hecarim can really look to kind of like disperse teams. He's kind of more of a chaotic team fighter, not so much like an organized team fighter. Zillion needs to land a double bomb. The Ash does leave a lot, give them a lot of wiggle room for like picks. It isn't really too bad, isn't too shabby at team fighting either.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be Braum picked up for Garrett, so certainly the melee support pick that you were kind of looking towards, but a bit different from what you normally see. I was expecting Nautilus here, maybe a little bit more, but Braum, excellent team fighter, certainly not lacking in the ability to go in, get aggressive, and it's going to be Cho'Gath for Justin. That's going to be a blind pick into Kaima Bird here.
Put Justin on a tanky, beefy boy. Kind of hope that he's not going to be able to be punished too hard. I do like the Braum into Misfortune specifically, being able to basically cancel out that bullet time, nullify it, and also just being a major threat if he's going to be able to get off that ultimate, knock her up, interrupter. It's going to create a field that you don't really want to play around.
So
Silas
the
pick
into Cho'Gath is going to be the Silas. Obviously, there's the cool little interaction with Silas and Cho'Gath where you can get those feast stacks on Silas and get quite tanky if you do steal that ultimate enough times. It also balances out their damage profile pretty well because Zillion does not bring the most damage in the world. Obviously, he has one damaging ability. So you get a little bit more magic damage for your team. Make sure that Justin and Bamo and Garrett can't just full buy armor and be basically immune to damage from this team. But NAU wants to run at your face. That is pretty much their only play. They've got the tools to do it. They've got the Leona to go in, the bullet time to follow up, the Zillion to enable the Hecarim even further to go in and get involved. The Silas going to be following up on top of that. You can do, he's got all kinds of crazy ultimates to steal this game too, like the Rise Realm Warp, the Xin Zhao ultimate can be a very powerful one to steal potentially. The Cho'Gath ultimate that we touched on a little bit, the Braum ultimate, a lot of crazy ones. And Sac State is going to want that. They're going to want them to play into them. They're looking to kite back with Xin, Braum, Cho'Gath. Like, their team is so good at kiting back, at creating space, and they have the range advantage, generally speaking, to be able to play to that win condition. With the Cho'Gath poke coming out, the Rise range, the Jinx range should be pretty easy to keep them at arm's reach. But, this is a game plan that all too frequently falls apart and, gets run over. So we'll see which composition is going to be better executed on by these two teams.
Yeah, I definitely think there's the onus is going to be on NAU for the execution. They need to kind of coordinate how they're going in, who they're focusing, how they're blowing their cooldowns. I mean, the big targets are going to be Ryze and Jinx for the most part. Maybe if you're early enough in the game, Xin Zhao is your focus target because Ryze and Jinx aren't quite online yet. But it's not terribly hard to, land that 2-second silence that Cho'Gath has into the Braum stun. Cho'Gath knock. There's a lot of CC. Xin Zhao can knock away all 5 members if he doesn't actually even auto anybody or apply the mark. So, I mean, it's kind of like a pseudo Janna ultimate. So, I mean, there's, like you're saying, there's so much appeal for Sac State that they shouldn't have too much trouble handling a poor engage from NAU.
For sure. Yeah, you got to be all 5 on the same page going at the same time. There's so many tools. Like, anybody can start this fight. It could be Sylas E in. It could be Hecarim ulting in. It could be, Leona Solar Flare or Zenith Blade or whatever. There's so much go button on the side of NAU, but all of the go buttons have to be hit at the same time for it to stick because, you're doing it into Braum and into Ryze Root and into Chompers and into Xin Zhao Ultimate and into Cho'Gath. So it's terrifying to be running at this Sac State team, but shoot, if running at them is the call, they've certainly drafted the comp for it. But
yeah, and I mean,
talked
even
about Jinx and Ryze scaling too. Sorry to cut you off there a little bit.
Yeah, you're good.
It's that is a little bit of a sketchy point for me. Is their early damage is going to have to so much come from Xin in like skirmishes and stuff like that, where you're relying on basically that's the only champ on this lineup that has base damages, really. Ryze early on, not a ton of damage. Jinx early on, not a ton of damage. So we'll see if that can account for anything in the early game skirmishes. But go ahead, get to your point.
Oh yeah, just the basically kind of was where you were going with that, and also just kind of where priority and lanes are going to be. I believe Ryze does need to blow a ton of mana to keep up with the double zillion bombs as far as wave management. In the bot lane, Jinx has rockets, but we'll see if the aggression from Leo, MF, a known kind of kill lane, is going to be able to keep them pushed in, and if NAU wants to play around this bot side or the top side of the map.
For sure. Yeah, I'd give pushing edge bot lane, just like in a vacuum, regardless of player execution, I would give pushing edge to Sac State in the bot lane. And then mid lane, like you said, it's once Ryze is on an item, maybe even like just Lost Chapter, you're probably fine, and you can probably wave clear that pretty easily. But then again, so can Zillion. So we'll have to see. The mid lane I expect to come down to execution first and foremost. So we are getting into game here.
There's definitely the option to look to punish the early Cho'Gath squishiness, because I mean, yeah, everyone thinks Cho'Gath is this giant meatball, but I mean, early levels, he's got a little bit more base health, and that's kind of it. Not too many tools, no escape at all. And against champions like Hecarim and Sylas, who are experts at chasing you down and walking you up, they could look for a lot of punishment.
For sure, yeah. The early game is definitely the point at which I'm the most contentious on with this team. We speculated extensively on how the 5v5 plays out and how execution-based it is, but like if there's a colossal lead going into that 5v5 situation, it could just flip the script entirely, so we'll have to see.
As far as like the kind of like that mid lane, bot lane prio we were talking about, it is a Hex Tech Drake first. I mean, the stats are really, really good. I think just about every one of the champions loves the ability haste. And the attack speed never hurts. I mean, you got Sylas, Hecarim, MF, they all like it. So we'll see where the priority is going to be. A little bit of a late invade from
They do have Braum, so much power in
level
these
1 king
late invade situations.
Yellow opting for that strut start to kind of get the move speed to get out of there.
It looks like NAU is aware that they really just can't take this. They have both mid laners walking over here. We'll see if there's any sort of play going on. The Ignite is down onto Garrett immediately, but he's able to get the Braum passive off, going to force the flash out of Twig. Venti's bombed up. Bamo going to have to flash out of there. So they do get the buff, but it looks like this late invade is going to backfire for Sac State here, as Venti's almost certainly not even going to blow flash, just going to die.
That's 2 flashes burned, ignites down, and 2 members of Sac State. Early gray screen viewing. Not the start we wanted to see from our kind of slow rolling comp. Bamos at a little bit behind. He's not particularly healthy. I mean, in this, but should be okay once he gets that red buff. Just the passive healing on it should be fine.
And a very common trend that I've noticed from NAU's drafts throughout the year has been a tendency to draft pretty, like, almost greedy, like very late game scaling sort of comps that don't get priority very well, that don't scrap early very well, and then junglers that look to just farm up and can't defend their own buffs very well. But this is not one of those drafts. So Sac State almost playing as if it were one of those drafts, and maybe getting a little over aggressive there and getting it turned around on.
Double bomb landing in that mid lane.
Gonna be a good chunk for net, but I'd imagine both of these mid laners going to be pretty comfortable scaling up into the game in this matchup.
Ooh, yeah, you kind of see the Silas combo coming in. Justin not really able to do too much. That mobile Cho'Gath.
Yeah, if you're Justin in this matchup, you know, they're always going to give Kama Bird counterpick. They're just want to give that guy all the tools that they possibly can to be able to carry the game. And Justin's just going to be on the receiving end of it. The expectation is just that he is up here comfortable, wave clearing, and then waiting for his bot side to get a whole lot done.
You know, Sac State's got that bot side scuttle, so the assumption should be that the top side scuttle is going towards NAU. XPNX trying to get this wave push so we can maybe get a reset.
You can see that priority in the top lane going to lead into a invade onto the blue buff and a lot of vision coverage in the enemy jungle for NAU.
Ooh, blue buff taken away. You can't lead from Funbari Onsen. He's going to be able to keep that snowball rolling from that kind of poor invade we saw earlier. Or unfortunate invade, I would say. Actually, just wants to look for the fight. Level 4 versus level 3. Bamo should have no shot here.
Level. I think Bamo just dies here. Flash is down.
That healing from Silas, absolutely crazy. The bot lane, though, we got a little bit of a fight breaking out.
The Ignite is down onto Venti, taking the worst end of this trade for sure. Not able to get the flash out in time. The auto and the double up going to lead to a 2v2 kill for NAU's bot lane here. Not the start you wanted to see for Sac State, down 2,000 gold nearly here, 5.5 minutes in. Gonna be a tricky one to come back into. I will say, however, we've seen some pretty interesting early games from Sac State this year, and then they are always somehow able to execute on the team fights when the time comes, so we'll see if that'll be the case this time around. But if they don't staunch the bleeding here soon, it could be really tricky regardless. Garrett getting aggressive into the bot lane. Braum passive is on to Twig, going to Zenith Blade out to buy a little bit of time, and that'll be a kill gifted over to Venti, make up a little bit of the deficit going on in this bot lane right now, as we are looking at a 700 gold deficit between the two AD carries already here in this one.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, we got a kill on the board. The first of many, hopefully, soon to come. Noon Quiver finished for Venti. Is still behind that pickaxe that we see from Piccolo, though. You know, as Jinx starts ramping up, getting access to the longer range on the rockets, he gets a couple more opportunities to kind of look for a little bit chip damage here and there.
Ooh, nice dodge out of the Cho'Gath Q for Kama Bird there, taking a really good trade.
And then you're going to grab this first Drake, it looks like, uncontested.
With the W available, this is diveable.
Oh.
This is diveable. Justin needed to flash the chain there. That's going to be a solo kill over to Kama Bird, up 30 CS and doing exactly what he set out to do here in this matchup. Justin not respecting the tower dive potential of the Silas early.
Yeah, we got the solo bowl in the top lane, and NAU claiming that Drake in the bot side of the map. They kind of have a run of the whole game at this point. Gonna see what our Sac State green guys are gonna do to kind of take over control again.
Oh, a nice Zenith Blade into the flash stun onto Venti there. Funbari has got the level 6. The Onslaught of Shadows going to lock up for level 4 Venti. Garrett going to go down as well. And that is 2 more kills over to Piccolo, and the bot lane is blown open for NAU.
I mean, I'm not too sure if the bot lane is going to be the way to play through, but top lane might be it. Ooh,
Well
good
played
ulti
for
steal.
Kama Bird, able to get the Xin Zhao ulti for himself there, disengage that situation.
Yeah, I mean, you have Xin Zhao, you have that aggressive early game jungler, but the scaling factor with the Jinx and the Rise, it's just, the damage isn't there early game to really do any of these major contests that Xin typically wants to do. Man was kind of left stuck in the middle of the ocean with no flotation device here.
For sure. Kama Bird now under quite a bit of pressure up in the top side. We'll see if anything major is going to come of that as Funbari has made his way up there to answer. Well, Justin did cancel his reset there. This could be very dangerous for him with Funbari up there. Doesn't have the Hecarim ultimate available, and Justin did blow flash earlier on in the play, so top laner missing his big tool to escape the situation, but the jungler missing his big tool to force the situation.
They might be going for it anyway.
They will be going for it. Justin looks dead here. Maybe able to get the trade kill
one for
on
one.
Kama Bird.
Oh, that
And
heal.
the beast just barely not enough to take down Kama Bird, and that's going to be a clean one going over to Funbari up in the top lane on the Hecarim. Off to a 3-0-3 start despite the late invade that Sac State pulled off there, obviously backfiring considerably, led to a huge lead for NAU's jungler.
Yeah, this one is not looking good. That 4K, just over 4K gold difference, not even 10 minutes into the game yet, is not a negligible amount. Kraken Slayer's completed for Piccolo. Funbari Onsen can't be too far off of finishing theirs. The two big major early game threats in the Hecarim and the Misfortune are already rolling. Snowball's going down the hill real quick.
For sure. And the number one thing, you know, we talked about it before the cast. Your MVP of the Big Sky, Venti down here, just kind of sitting around, been shut down in colossal fashion here. Sitting at 1-3, down almost 20 CS. Going to be a tricky one to make up.
I mean, Garrett even has more XP than him. He's been focused down so hard. I mean, Garrett's 6, Venti's 5.
And both of them, of course, down 2 levels total to the enemy bot lane. Oh, and Justin's getting dove.
Ooh, the dive.
That's going to be a quick one over to Kama Bird. Pick up his second.
And Herald is up. XPNX does have the Prow. Not too much mana, but it's slow into the double bump from Burnett. Kind of the typical combo you see coming out of the Zillion. If you're going to pair that with the Hecarim, I mean, it could be a lot. It's going to be a lot of kill pressure if they decide to ever turn their sights onto the mid lane. As I say
a decent flash out of the double bomb, but the Realm Warp going to be canceled out. He's going to go down. 4th kill over to Funbari. And it's a 2v2 kill for NAU's bot lane down there, going to take down Garrett. And I think it's safe to say the train is off the rails here in game 1.
Definitely. That means Sac State's gonna need to kind of really bring it in and batten down the hatches if they want to make it, turn this game around. That, or at least try to save Mental moving into the next one. But there's plenty of time left in this game.
Certainly a lot of league left to be played, but it is absolutely a puke and rally kind of situation for them right now. It is getting real bad really fast. Justin could just go down here again. His flash is about to be up, but looks like he is getting near the point where he is just tanky enough to shrug off the Silas.
We'll say we may get lucky with the Hextech Drake and the Infernal Drake being the first two. We may see something like a Cloud Soul, which is good for Hecarim. It's pretty good for like engage style teams, but there are worse souls. Oh, that's offside. Might
Nice
just not have the
dodge
damage
out
though.
of a rupture for Kawama Bird. And yeah, I mean, Bamo
We do have that Cloud Soul.
over here at level 7.
It could be worse. Could have been that Ocean.
Oh,
Could have been that.
flashing
Oh.
too early. The flash follow out of Kawama Bird. A good ultimate going to buy Bamo a little bit of time. Knows he's dead there with the Zillion coming over. Just tries his darndest for the fight, but going to be taken down.
So much damage. Piccolo is absolutely crazy on the MF. About to have pretty close to 2 items. That Kraken Slayer, and I'm assuming that's probably going to be an LDR, but it may be.
Garrett stunned up into the bullet time. The Unbreakable Shield is going to go down, but the stopwatch going to mean the Venti takes a lot of damage off of the back of that. So Sac State's bottom lane able to disengage the 2v2 fairly well, but at the cost of most of their health bars.
This
Bamo
Volt
has
might
made
be
his way
looking
into the
for
bot side.
Make it rain, making it tough. Bama doesn't have an umbrella; he can't walk through there.
No, he cannot. Oh, Everfrost landing on a Justin in the top lane. I think Justin is close enough to his tower that this won't result in another solo kill, but man, Kawama Bird is absolutely in control of this top lane, winning these trades so heavily.
I was wondering if they were going to kind of go like the double Everfrost route, which just kind of beefs up their overall CC if the Silas is able to get on top of everybody. And likely so. I can't imagine Zillion going any other mythic besides the double Everfrost. It makes it really, really hard for Sac State to look for picks on either of these 2 members.
For sure.
If it already wasn't hard enough. Actually, oh no. If you check the stacks, Silas has 4 of the Cho'Gath stacks, Justin only has 1.
Oh my.
Silas actually getting more value out of the Cho'Gath pick than Sac State's lineup is.
XPNX has made his way up into the top side. I'm not sure if they are aware of the pink in the river brush there, but XPNX, obviously with the Realm Warp available, could have maybe looked for a play there. Seems as if they decide the setup isn't quite what they are looking for, though.
You see the bounties are up. Another 50 gold for 50, 60 gold actually looks like for everyone. That gold difference for that first tower, and then the objectives are going to be 100 gold each.
Nice dodge this time out of Justin. Looks like the rupture and the flash will get him to safety as Bunbari is diving the bot lane. Venti does have flash available, opts to save it, I suppose, as both of them going to be taken down, as well as the bot lane turret there. And Sac State is absolutely in shambles here in game 1. It has just gone from bad to worse still, and then we got to where we are now. 9k gold down here, 15.5 minutes in. Sac State is going to need a miracle.
I don't know, Venti walking up this tower, but that's going to be a mistake.
He does have his flash this time.
Oh. Okay. Get a jail free card used. We'll see it again in another 5 minutes. Third Drake of the map will be up in the next minutes. I mean, there's no way Sac State's going to even be able to contest Soul. They're going to have to give up and hope that in the next, 6 or so minutes that maybe they can get a couple items and look for something cheesy, something fun bush style. I'm not too sure. Because in all honesty, it's going to take the Xin Zhao, the Rise, and the Jinx pounding onto probably one member of any to take them down. I mean, MF does so much damage. Zillion's got 2 lives, and then Hecarim and Silas are just so damn big on their own.
For sure. Sac State opting to send their bot lane mid here. A little bit safer to farm there in the mid lane as a flashless Jinx. Rise pretty comfortable to be in the side lane all by his lonesome. Getting a lot tankier now with the more prevalent Rise build with the Fibble Winter and the Frozen Heart. Not caring too much about the side lane threats. Also has the Realm Warp to get out of there, of course.
Top tier 1 the top tier one and the mid tier one are just one mean look away from falling down.
For sure.
I mean, NAU can definitely look for a dive on pretty much either of these two towers. Especially if Fernet's going to be there with that Zillion ultimate to kind of revive whoever's holding that tower aggro.
It's like Lumbari's just going to be able to solo away this dragon, going to put them on Cloud Soul Point. So I'm going to land on a Justin, but not a whole lot of damage coming through just yet. All of that wailing on Justin only taking about half his HP, which is nothing to scoff at for sure, but you were seeing that same combo one-shot him earlier on into the game, so you see some of the Cho'Gath scaling coming through, perhaps.
Got another stack. He's got Merc Treads, another Negatron Cloak, and I mean, going the Everfrost build on the
we got a dive into the mid lane. Venti going to be locked up and taken down. Twig may have dove in a little bit too far there. Fernet's in there. He's got the double bomb. Not even going to have to use the Zillion ultimate to save his support. Keimerberg going to claim a solo bolo up into the top lane on Justin. Take down that top lane tier 1.
I was going to say something along the lines of Silas going Everfrost doesn't have as much damage as he would if he went like Riftmaker, but just the sustained damage that he's capable of putting out if he's able to weave in auto attacks between abilities is definitely more than enough to do more damage than a Cho'Gath's capable of. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever call it, but this one is definitely looking real bad.
It's looking dire, for sure. To put it lightly, it is looking dire. We do have mythic completions coming through for Sac State, but this is coming through in a point at which NAU is onto second item completions on their three of their 4 main members there. LDR in for Piccolo. Frozen Heart second for Funvari, and the Zanya's coming in for Bird.
Here on the map, 20 seconds. I mean, NAU should be able to pick that up without much of a contest, without any real contest. I think if Sac State looks to contest that Baron, they lose the fight, lose Baron, and probably the game off of it.
Yeah, and look at all the vision that they're doing this with. Sac State really not in much of a position to leave their base, let alone go contest a Baron.
Looks like NAU just kind of content with clearing out those camps. Works for Sac State. I mean, if they want to kind of be... If they want to try to take the slower approach, drag out that chokehold, it may work for our benefit, but they'd have to drag this out for a while, probably another 10-15 minutes for Sac State to really kind of even consider being online. Oh, there you go. Switching right over to the Baron.
I can't imagine there will be a contest here. No position whatsoever. Likely just going to give this one over. Hope that they can withstand the siege that comes thereafter.
I mean, the Jinx and the Rise don't... I mean, Jinx has a bit of range with the rockets, but I mean, Rise doesn't have quite as much, and I mean, if he steps out too far, Zillion gets the double bomb. Could be a pretty easy pick, and then a follow-up team fight or tower dive. So I'm a little worried that, I mean, I don't feel like they siege particularly well, but I feel like they can look to catch us out and just kind of let the minions do most of the work.
Definitely agree. The call for NAU. 5-man down mid. They're going to use this Baron onto the mid inhibitor tower here. Hope to knock that one down. The contest here is going to be Venti and Garrett. As we were talking about, Jinx with some wave clear, Rise with some wave clear, but Rise not in any position, and Jinx going to be pushed off of the turret just by NAU's sheer presence in front of that inhibitor tower.
It is definitely a chokehold. kind of a matter of time with that Baron buff still being active. If they're able to outlast it, maybe they can carve that mid lane inhib, but here's the fight.
With the Onslaught of Shadow, it's going to be cleansed out by Venti, but it will not matter. He's going to be traded back onto anyway. And you can see NAU just throwing their weight around here. No business giving over any kills here. They are just too far ahead. Fight will not come through for Sac State. And that'll be game 1 going to NAU.
Definitely a tough game to watch, and I'm sure it was much harder to kind of play and be on the receiving end. Lumber Boys kind of were able to maintain that mental going to the next game, knowing that they have hopefully they'll bring a different plan coming into game 2. At the very least, maybe not a late invade that kind of coin flips the entire game.
Yeah, the late invade just seemed to... It just seemed to totally doom the game, truly. I mean, they just got so far ahead off of that late invade going sour, and then you just saw, you know, the whole game flip off of that, and it was just in NAU's hands for the entirety of that one, pretty much. Just literally from level 1, so we'll see if Sac State maybe comes with a different plan, or if the call is just don't do the late invade, and then maybe they're in a little bit better spot, but, you know, we'll have to see. So, yeah, everybody, hope you enjoyed game 1. Stick around for game 2. All right, everybody, welcome back. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more competitive of an outing for you here in game number 2. We got the players just loading up into the lobby right now, and we'll be happy to bring you game 2 coming up real shortly. So we talked about it a little bit, but what do you think Sac State's got to change up in order to flip the script here in game 2?
I think they need to look to draft a little bit more skirmishy. We saw the Rise, we saw the Jinx, and then paired with the Xin Zhao. If everything goes according to the script, it's definitely fine. But if they look for anything cheeky, and they're not trying to play if they're trying to play the way they normally play, which is aggressive, skirmishy, looking for early fights and trades, they can't play that scaling comp.
Mm-hmm.
So they picked one thing and were playing the way they normally do. But it just doesn't quite work with that draft if you're trying to shake things up, I don't think.
Yeah, and the elephant in the room here, of course, is the late invade level 1, which just led to 2 deaths, multiple blown summoners, a scuffed clear for Bamo, and it loses Funbari 1 camp. Like, it loses him his first buff, which, like, sucks on its own, but you'll take that trade every day of the week. So it just felt like NAU got that little lead, and then bot lane ends up coming back, like, down 2 levels, multiple kills gifted over to MF, and none of the lanes except the Rise can really play because, we're drafting Justin's top lane into a weak side situation regardless, where he's expected to play even, scale, just sit up there and be comfortable, try to eliminate that point of pressure for NAU as much as humanly possible. But that bot lane point of strength just didn't pan out literally off of the late invade. It's just the whole game was pretty much thrown at that point, and then NAU just got a nice firm grip on it and never let go of that. So that'd be the main thing I would want to see changed up, is just to not go for that play in that situation. Late invading can be good if you're in a situation where the enemy team's lanes can't move very effectively or their level 1 is super bad. But you're against Leona. It's like you have Braum, which is better, but like Leona is not bad. So
yeah, just the burst and the damage that Leona gets. It's landing an ability, and then as long as there's a follow-up. MF is no joke at level 1. That's the combination of the Leona passive with MF getting a little bit of extra damage on that first auto, especially if he's able to auto between 2 different targets, like hitting the blue buff and hitting Garrett. It's really tough to out-trade that as a Jinx Braum.
Yeah, it can be a ton of damage, and then NAU, of course, playing it well in that situation and all of that. We're holding on this for so long because it was such a huge play for the game. Like, it just really felt like that one was decided at level 1. NAU just took that and ran with it. So we'll see what the call is in game 2. Maybe it's more of the same, and they think they just don't go for the coin flip level 1, and then it's fine, or if they'll opt to change it up pretty considerably and look to something totally different. But we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I'm sure whatever the boys cook up, it will be the best shot they got.
Oh yeah. We're heading in now. If anything's going to change, I don't think NAU would really have to change anything up. They did opt, or Sac State did opt for red side. So they will be a saving counter pick for somebody. My question is going to kind of be who. Sometimes I know they like to save it for Garrett, just kind of give him a lot of priority in that bot side.
For sure. The other option is giving it to Justin, of course. This is what NAU really likes to do, is get their top laner on a really, really strong point that they can play through. And I think if you're Sac State here, I do think you probably give counterpick to Justin, but not for the same reason that you give it to Kawama Bird if you're in NAU. Whereas, you give Kawama Bird the counterpick because it doesn't matter what he's playing as long as he is a strong point for the team. So you just give him the most winning matchup you possibly can. Whereas for Justin, you give him the opportunity to see what he's playing into and then pick the champ that he can most effectively neutralize and scale on.
There's definitely advantages to both. And we have seen Justin kind of pop off if he's able to get an advantageous matchup in the top lane. We saw the pentakill Mordekaiser, or the unofficial pentakill Mordekaiser, a couple weeks ago. But I mean, when he's kind of stacked up against someone like Kama Bird's caliber, maybe a little more difficult to pull off.
For sure. And we see both teams keeping the bans just the same as they did in game 1. Zilean is going to be the B1 option for NAU here. I was expecting Jinx, as for the same reasons that Venti picked it last game, going to answer with it here. And then going to pick up the Hecarim, take that one away from Fumbari. Bamo, of course, piloted this champion very, very well throughout the season. Quite a few starts on the Hecarim for Bamo.
Yeah, we did talk about like the red side having Elastic, but they also do get 2 picks right off the bat. And I mean, I'm not sure if they were expecting the Zilean or if they're expecting Jinx or Hecarim to go for that first pick. But having the Hecarim does create already a relatively solid front line for Sac State, because it's going to cause chaos for the back line for NAU. So Venti should be free to kind of like fire off those rockets from afar.
I will say I was definitely expecting the B1 pick for NAU to be either Jinx or Hecarim. Sac State going to be able to pick up both. So very, very good for them. Twig going to get that Leona yet again. Piccolo not going to go toward the Draven, going to pick up a Xayah down there in the bot lane.
It is a good answer to Hecarim, having access to become untargetable if Bamo does go all in onto the Xayah. It's kind of blowing the entire load and doing no damage. Could be really good. And then Braum also being able to block the Feather Call.
Yeah, great interaction into Xayah for Braum being able to use that that Unbreakable Shield to block out the Blade Caller from Xayah, deny the roots, and a lot of the damage, as that is most commonly what Xayah maxes first. We do see a lot of the lethality Xayah these days, which is a Q max most frequently. But we'll have to see what build Piccolo is going to opt for on the Xayah. With Zilean mid, there is a world in which Piccolo is pretty forced into having to go the crit build because there just is not enough damage on the team. And lethality Xayah does not do like considerably less damage than crit Xayah does. The thing is though, is it all just comes out right up front. And if there's something like a Braum shield to neutralize some of that, or a flash that neutralizes some of that, then you can get left out to dry a little bit. So Poppy banned and Mordekaiser banned.
2 favorite picks
for Justin. And so Poppy for me, if you're banning Poppy as your last ban on blue side, you're almost definitely looking to open up a Camille blind, would be my guess.
Is this... Ooh, Vayne? If they do go with the Vayne, the lethality Xayah, yeah, I mean, Cannon I feel like is probably better here.
Yeah.
But Vayne does kind of... Ooh, Gwen.
Gonna be Gwen for Common.
Does open up Xayah to be that lethality.
Yeah, now you have some of the damage. Now you do have options here. And aside from the Leona kind of being an odd man out, they've pivoted into a little bit more of a playback comp at this point with the Gwen. I'm not sure how much I've talked about this on the cast, but I think Gwen is at her most powerful when she is sort of almost a solo pseudo frontline for team comps that like to play back, and it looks like that is what they're going to pick up for themselves. You know, Shyvana and Leona can force fights where they want to, you know, in a pinch, but this team overall is looking to have Sac State play into them, and it looks like Sac State's going to have to do just that. So this is the script flipped indeed, where Sac State is going to be the ones going in most frequently.
Sled pickup.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Another fallback of Justin's.
And all in run at you for Sac State.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious as to if the Shyvana Gwen will be enough dive to cause enough chaos for Sac State's backline.
I can't imagine it will, but that's all assuming that NAU is playing into Sac State, which I don't imagine the onus will be on them very frequently. If Sac State is able to get early leads on this composition, then NAU will be forced to play into them, and that could be very difficult to do. But as it sits right now, even game state, it's going to come down to whoever has set up on the objective first, I feel. because NAU definitely wants to be at the objective first, and if Sac State is playing into them, it can be pretty easy. But then NAU is also not great at forcing Sac State off of the objective. If Sac State is able to get there first, they're NAU likely not going to be able to get that inside position for themselves. But whew, yeah, they changed it up indeed. This is same bot lane, but yeah, they've pretty much completely flipped the script from last game, where Sac State now piloting the go in comp.
Yeah, and I mean it's for NAU, it's a very, very aggressive. Like we say it's a playback comp, but they are very, very high damage. Like with the Shyvana, I'm assuming this is an AP jungle Shyvana, which is typically how I've seen it played. Maybe it's a tank jungle Shyvana.
I expect it to be. I've done quite a lot of homework on this team, as it just so happens, and Bunbari has been playing almost entirely the tank on hit kind of Shyvana.
Okay.
So likely to see that. It's a little bit more consistent damage coming through, and then you can be kind of that front line for the team a little bit. Send your carcass in there with the Dragon's Descent and not immediately get blown to smithereens. But even so, there is so much peel available. There's so many options available for Sac State. You kind of talked about, like, I'm talking about Sac State as this comp that is so honed in on going forward, but in reality, you bring up a good point. I don't think that's at all the case. They have so many potent peel options with Galio Braum that they're going to be able to keep this Jinx safe pretty effectively, I would have to imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they do have Justin on the Kled, so it could be plenty of flank opportunities, and just kind of opening up options for different gank paths, like flank paths from Bamo. So we'll see. Yeah, I think between Braum and Galio, they should be able to peel Venti without too much trouble, while Hecarim and Kledge kind of work on that front line.
And they are going to have to, because they are a little bit short on threats. It's not the tankiest NAU lineup in the world, so Hecarim, Kled, Galio damage is not going to be negligible against a comp like this that's going to have no true full tanks. Obviously Leona going to be building very durable, but that's a support on limited income. Shyvana going to be going kind of the bruiser build, not going to be fully itemizing into durability, I would imagine. And then Gwen, most of her durability, of course, comes from the pseudo durability that she's granted with the friend zone. So,
yeah, that friend zone, that hula hoop, and just the omni vamp or the spell vamp that she gets on most of her kit. But with most of the members of Sac State being melee, we'll see how much value is going to come out of that safety circle.
That's true. That is a good point to bring up. Is the friend zone not as effective against melee heavy teams, because you can kind of just get in there and not care a whole lot, especially if you have CC to back it up and cut through some of that spell vamp. If that's basically the only thing that works better than heal cut against Gwen, is if you have the if you just have crowd control available for you, won't even matter.
I'm a bird going with TP exhaust.
That's a new one.
So we see a lot of like the TP ignite, but actually mad respect to Common Bird recognizing the amount of damage threat that Sac State has and going for the exhaust.
Yeah, certainly a good call if you ask me.
We see anything? I honestly don't expect anything crazy coming out of this level 1, especially with the way it went last game. Probably just a standard 5-point.
Welcome to Summoner's
And what's funny about that is this game is already a lot better to do it. It's still not good. I still don't think you go for the late invade here, but it is already so much better than it was last game, just with Galio mid as opposed to Ryze. Because Ryze at level 1 doesn't really do anything. Ryze at level 2, you could, if you scale the red abilities, potentially have the root available. But Ryze at level 1 basically just throw in Qs, whereas Galio could potentially level the E or the W, get a taunt down, get a knockup down. A lot more power coming through.
Yeah, taking that level 1 does absolutely destroy the lane presence that he typically has.
That is true.
If you get a first blood, not bad.
But yeah, that will not be the call, as I did expect. It will be
Ooh,
Lots of top clears
I like.
for both teams. And that's Piccolo. That's your AD carry picking up the sweeper.
I'm interested in that sweeper pickup from Piccolo, but also the fact that XPNX went Predator and Boots first.
Oh, wow. I mean, he's not going to be under a ton of threat in the Zillion lane, you know, is the expectation. Galio, unlike the Rise matchup last game where they were basically just free farming the entire time, Galio should be able to keep shove against Zillion and ignore his damage for most of the laning phase here. And Galio is also just an absolute trump card in the mid-jungle 2v2s. Basically, any mid-jungle 2v2 is winning for the Galio side.
Ooh.
Nice double bomb, though. Not going to be able to shake that one off.
Yeah, Galio being melee into Zillion, probably not going to be able to get away with autoing any minions without that double bomb coming out, assuming the Zillion cooldown reduction ability is up. The rewind, I think it's called.
For sure. So down in the bot lane, we see a lot more of kind of what we were expecting last game, with Venti and Garrett able to get the shove into Twig and Piccolo.
Bamo contesting those chickens. Hecarim versus Shyvana. Ooh, Predator used too.
Leona is moving. They do have pings onto it. They are aware. Bamo just going to get a quick pass through. Looks like Funbari is going to be able to pick up his Raptors regardless.
Good call out for the Leona roaming up and just choosing to leave. Drop the ego. And respect the fact that it could have been a 2v3. Get used to that just as much to get out of there. Ooh. Burnett definitely looking for every.
He's just been able to land every bomb, it looks like. Guy's got aimbot on.
I will say the Zillion bombs are really sticky and really magnetic, especially the champions that have a pretty large hitbox, like Galio. I've definitely hit some BS bombs before. Pretty casual game coming out here in the early stages. Not like the Leona getting a way aggressive, taking 2 tower shots.
Chompers are down. Ignite going to be down on the Garrett. They do have Funbari here to support. Saxton cannot chase this one any further. Garrett going to have to flash out of the blade collar there. Sac State needs to be so careful. I don't think that they know that Funbari is there right now. I think if I were them, I would be expecting him to be on a reset right now. Oh, this is so dicey for Sac State. Garrett going to go down. Venti likely to follow here. Going to be forced to throw down the Chompers and flash out of there. I don't even think Funbari mattered there. That is just too aggressive out of Sac State's bot lane.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need to try to hard force.
Yeah, that's just a straight 2v2 kill for the side of NAU down in the bot lane. That's just Garrett on the Braum, I think, just overestimating his durability. Maybe, you know, I'm not going to speculate on who's making the call for that specific situation. It could have been either of them just as easily, but it's just not a winning situation there.
Seen a lot of these bear trap on a ropes connect kind of whenever the camera's pan to the top lane for a second, but never able to get that pullback. Second part of that ability.
Burnett gonna roam up to give Calm a Bird a little free level 6 there. Really nice for him.
We'll see if the coming through maybe. But yeah, I mean the map's in a much more neutral state than it was in the last game. I think we were looking at a couple 1,000 gold lead for NAU at this point. There is a bit of a lead in that bot lane thanks to that kill. Noon Quiver completed for Piccolo, whereas Venti's just sitting on the dagger and double longsword. Level 6 is in for XP and X. Fernet soon to follow, and Justin as well. So we'll see if plays maybe start being made across the map. Kled does have, like, he may not have the Galio, like, heroic entrance, or hero's entrance, but he does have the ability to kind of come in from further away than Kama Bird does.
For sure, for sure. It's yeah, I still like NAU's map state quite a bit better here, but it is not nearly as doomsday as it was last game around the 5-minute mark. We were looking at like a 4-1 kill score, might have even been worse than that. 3,000 gold, something ludicrous. But yeah, hoping that Sac State's bot lane gets the hatches battened down and is able to go toe to toe down here, because this is kind of the expectation going into this match, is that the top lane was going to be the strong point for NAU, the bot lane was going to be the strong point for Sac State. It was going to be how those two inevitabilities play around each other. As here we have the mandatory weird stutter that goes on after pauses.
Good question in the chat as far as who do we think scales better?
I think I give the scaling edge.
I'm tempted to say NAU personally.
Yeah, I think it's...
I mean, having Gwen versus Kled, I think Gwen's better.
With Xayah going crit, I think it's pretty certainly NAU.
Plus you have Zillion.
Have the scaling edge, yeah. Zillion scales crazy. Like an absolute monster. And then you just have more threats on the side of NAU as well, where you have like Galio's damage will become ignorable later on into the game. Kled's damage for most of the crew going to become ignorable later on into the game. It's basically just Jinx that you have to worry about for damage, whereas on NAU's side, you have Gwen and Xayah both going to be bringing a lot of damage, and Shyvana with a Reeker bow in the inventory going to be a lot of damage. Garrett should just be dead in the face of NAU here. Bammo dropping super low, going to have to get out of there. Venti gets excited though, able to find the zap snipe onto Funbari there. XPNX going to be stunned up and have his ultimate canceled out. So it'll be a
don't know.
1 for 2.
I don't know if I like that playing into the 3v3 before XPNX is quite able to get there. I think the play is to see if anything else comes out of here. Venti might have to kill.
Able to skirt around the fight very well. Venti playing this expertly, able to space very, very well here. Bammo very low, could die to this next blade caller. Will not go down to it. And it looks like this is going to be Sac State's dragon to take. Able to get an answer back. 2 for 2 and the dragon for Sac State. That is a winning play right there.
Definitely. Mountain Drake is good. Galio, Hecarim, Braum, and Kled all like this Drake. Especially you want your front line, you want your peelers to be able to live as long as possible. Just kind of provide that support for Venti. He's going to get the items, he's going to have the damage. Doesn't necessarily need the Drakes to really amp that up. You want your support to be alive.
For sure, and yeah, I think both kills going over to Venti, they're crucial for Sac State. I've talked about it heavily. Venti really the only threat for Sac State. You want to get this man as much gold as possible.
He's back to lane with XPNX looking to get aggressive with that Predator. But yeah, Venti's back in lane with, I think, just a bit more gold. No, actually still behind in gold. Just got the dagger and the Doran's Blade up on Piccolo right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's planning to divert into the attack speed boots to kind of help be able to shove the wave and space a little bit more effectively against NAU. As if Bammo looks for this lane gank, I'm sure Sac State is aware of this. Oh, they didn't see the pink! They didn't see the pink Bammo was in, but a good blade caller out of Piccolo going to be able to disengage from that situation regardless.
It's a shame that didn't work out because NAU Funbari Onsen was taking away that red buff from Bammo there. And I mean, we see similar KP coming out from Bammo and Funbari Onsen, but there is a bit of a lead as far as the camps and XP is concerned. You see Funbari Onsen level 7, Bammo's only level 6.
So Bammo did look to go contest the chickens here in response, but Funbari level 7 to Bammo's level 6. Going to be able to buffer out the Galio stun there with the Dragon's Descent. Garrett made his way into the play there. Not able to save XP, and Bammo just too low to re-engage this fight with both bot lane members roaming up. Sac State's got to get on out of here ASAP.
And we just see that lack of damage that you were talking about. I mean, Venti is their major source of damage, and I mean, Bamo going the Boots of Lucidity first doesn't have too much damage. I think XP&X may have just bought those 2 amp tomes. I don't remember if he had Merc Treads first and then just picked up these tomes.
Yeah, I think if you're Sac State, the possibility to blow Shyvana up or Zillion up there this early on into the game is possible, barring the Zillion ultimate, of course. But it's just got to come through a lot cleaner than that. Bamo took basically 90% of his health bar before XP was even on his screen. XP really wanted that cancel. Not able to get the second one. Burnett going to be TPing back in here. Funbari and Bamo have found each other in the bot side jungle here. That will be the Scuttle going over to Bamo.
Overall, the CS difference is leaning towards NAU. The kill score also leaning towards NAU. But Sacs, they do have that Drake, so a couple little bonus defensive stats. Definitely not negligible.
Yeah, across the board you see, you know, low double-digit or single-digit CS leads just like eking out all the lanes here. Got a 8 CSD in the bot lane closing though, and
Ooh, good stun.
a 3 CSD in the mid lane. Few camp lead for Funbari, and then about 20 up in the top lane, which is the biggest there.
Alright, put your back into it.
Okay, so this Bruiser-based Shyvana build, is it this Blade of the Ruined King into kind of like the tankier items?
I think the mythic choice is usually the Frozen Fist.
Crossfire, yeah.
The Frostfire,
Okay.
yeah. And then, yeah, Bork Rush for some of that early damage, good clear speed.
Yeah, absolutely devastating with the Dragon mode or not, the Q being able to apply 2 procs of the Blade of the Ruined King. Absolutely huge. Basically getting the entire thing in auto Q auto. Second Drake coming up in about 30 seconds.
And NAU does have the setup here off of the mid pressure.
Funbar does have the Dragon form available, and XP is really low. No unleashed teleport available for the next 2 minutes. So if he's going to reset, he'd already be late. This should be NAU's Drake to take.
Yeah, NAU has the setup here. Sac State, without the vision, surely aware that this is going down.
Okay. Yeah, Bamo is on the Herald. It's the traditional answer second Drake with Herald that we usually see other teams take when we're looking for that second Drake. But I'm glad Sac State is recognizing it and often take it themselves. And it's going to be a Hextech Soul. It will be really, really bad if NAU is able to get this Soul. 3 members of their team love all the stats they get from it. Sac State doesn't really care for it too much, but yeah, nothing should come from its top lane. But the attack speed that you get for Shyvana, for Gwen, for Xayah is just going to be way too big on top of the slow that comes with that Hextech Soul.
Got another pause coming through. Haven't gotten the word on what exactly is going down just yet, but sure we'll be getting word on that shortly.
Looks like the NAU ADC is having some, or no, sorry, the Sac State Venti's having some issues with the PC.
Oh, for sure.
Quick fix. Should be back into
Looks like
game
we are
momentarily.
going to be getting back into it. I'm sure we'll have our mandatory stutter yet again.
And one thing also, on top of just the pure stats and the effect from the Hextech Drake, are the Hex Gates. Giving Justin and Bamo tons of, even Funbar, Onsen, and Common Bird. I mean, all these champions that are typically looking to like flank, coming from the side, have so many options.
Common Bird getting aggressive on the Justin in the top side. Got the exhaust in, not quite going to be able to get the remount in time. That's going to be another solo kill for Kama Bird onto Justin just before our stutter comes in and cuts us short.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely tragic. Gwen doing so much damage off of just that leeching Leer. And blasting one. I want to say Common Bird did hit up to level 11, so that was a really big spike for the ultimate damage.
Definitely.
Might have caught Justin off guard there. Riftmaker complete. Common Bird with the Conqueror and Riftmaker. Yeah, there's no way Justin gets the lane against this at that point.
Bear Trap on a Rope does apply the Grievous Wounds, which will be a huge boon for Justin later on into the game, but he's going to need to get some more damage of his own to back that up at all.
Ooh, big long Zenith Blade.
Nothing likely to come of it, though. Xayah has a hard time following up on those engages that go way out away from her. You much prefer to have the enemy team coming into you so that they can walk through your blades.
And I think the timing was a little bit unfortunate with Justin fighting Common Bird earlier. Bama was trying to match that. Unfortunately, that not going so well means that Shelly is not going to be able to claim any plates as we pass that 14-minute mark.
Got aggression on a Kama Bird in the top lane. The Hecarim E going to land. The Kled Charge going to land. And that is going to be Justin getting one back in this top lane thanks to the assistance from Bamo.
And we see that friend zone doing pretty much nothing. Not saving Common Bird from any of that damage. Ooh, good knockout.
Rom Ultimate going to be thrown down. Piccolo going to trade the Featherstorm there. Play going
XP Nex is
to be
here.
on to Garrett. Garrett dropping very low. The Ignite is ticking. XP able to get in there. Save Garrett, potentially. The Guardian going to keep him safe a little bit longer. He's going to do his best to skirt around.
Mark applied.
Funbari Onsen able to get the mark down. But Funbari does a lot of damage. He's got the work in. Venti got the rocket in, but it's just too much damage on the Shyvana. Venti not able to pick that one up with the rocket.
Ooh,
just
Bamo,
going to
though.
step through. Bamo going to go trade this one back. Funbari going to go down. Justin getting super aggressive on the Fernet here. The double bomb going to miss. Going to force out the Chrono Shift from Fernet. There goes his flash. Kama Bird roaming into the mid lane though. Saxate is aware of this, so Justin's just going to turn tail and run and take the overwhelmingly positive trade of Zillion's flash there. The Chrono Shift obviously on pretty much no cooldown, so you don't care too terribly much about getting that one, but
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Chrono Shift hits level 11, or as soon as Zillion hits level 11, Chrono Shift is like a 60-second cooldown. You don't even really need to have too much ability haste.
yeah, that sucker is going to be up every fight regardless. Blowing the flash, that one will not be up every fight.
Third Drake coming up here in about a minute. Saxate is going to be able to grab the Scuttle. No TPs, or no TP for Kama Bird. Justin will have it, and actually Kama Bird does not, I don't believe, has a way to interrupt Justin's TP. So we'll have to kind of play down here on the bot side of the map.
The itemization looking very even for these two teams at the moment, despite the gold lead being a little bit in NAU's favor. It's just spread very evenly at the moment, so it hasn't resulted in any like second item completions for any of these members just yet.
Both teams kind of looking for any potential pick, but Saxate, as that position towards the mid lane, gives up their control of the river.
They do have their bot lane pushing, though. They could be able to pinch them here. Featherstorm going to go down, but Piccolo is going to be exploded. A huge double bomb going to lock up 3 in the middle of the fight, though. And Gwen just shreds through the entire team of Saxate. Venti's flashing out, got the bomb on his head, though. That's going to take him down. Justin going to use the charge to get on out of there. That's going to be 2 for 4 in favor of NAU, and I have to imagine the Dragon follows immediately after.
Piccolo buying so much time with that Xayah ultimate. I mean, going to be able to stall out XPNX and Bamo. So Funbari Onsen and Common Bird can just kind of go absolutely ham on the Shyvana and Gwen.
What a double bomb for Fournette in that fight, able to lock up 3 members, and then the follow-up damage was just so overwhelming. Sac State going down just as quickly as Piccolo did to start off the play.
We might need to see Garrett playing a little bit more defensively, saving the Braum ultimate for the Shyvana, for the Gwen, if they look to dive onto Venti. We saw him use it a little bit aggressively, trying to catch out Piccolo there, but if the ultimate's up, the Braum ultimate's never going to win.
Pings onto the Rift Herald for both teams here.
Ooh, early Ignite.
This will be an even 4v4. Bambo's locked up. Funbari is into the backline. Garrett is not able to get in and get the stack onto the Shyvana just yet. Sac State kiting this one out. Down a lot of health at the moment. Bambo going to go down to the Flame Breath from Funbari. Fournette going to come in to help out that one, and that'll be Sac State's support and jungle going down. Likely to mean Rift Herald for NAU.
His vision is mostly defensive. They got a couple wards just on the edge of the river in that bot side, but they have very, very little vision across the entire map. So they're kind of walking in blind in most of the cases.
Justin just loses these. No flash available. The Galio ult going to be inted away, unfortunately. Justin was long gone by the time XP&X shows up there.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Objective bounties are in. Gold lead reflects that. It's about 8k to the side of NAU. Baron likely going down here with no contest. We're seeing another kind of chokehold starting forming here. I mean, with this being a best of 3, Sac State's going to have to hold on tight, flip this game, and then go to a third one if they want to continue the series.
It took a lot longer, but this game, just like last game, has gone from bad to worse for the side of Sac State. You're 20 minutes in, over an 8,000 gold deficit, just about 9,000 in fact, after the Baron comes through.
2 key items for Gwen are done. The Riftmaker and the Nash's Tooth, that's all she really needs. Anything else tends to be just overkill. Dia with the Kraken Slayer Essence Reaver. Just when I'm away from the big spike for her. And I mean, Sac State's got the Frozen Heart on the Heck Rim. I mean, I think Bamo might be the richest member. Yeah, just barely. Really feeling that gold disadvantage just looking at the items and kind of the way these last couple fights have been going.
That last fight was their big shot to not only get back into this game, but potentially take a big lead for themselves. And off the back of that insane double bomb from Fournette, NAU now in commanding control of this game, and that little gold lead that they had earlier that didn't mean any second item completions now means a lot of second item completions.
Combination of that Baron buff and Shelly to do. Actually, this mid tower might go down here.
Yep.
It is.
Cannon Minion going to take that one. Sac State just not able to walk up and hit that Cannon Minion.
Oop.
They're going to give it the old college try, though. The charge in. Bamo going to be able to knock Twig back into the rest of the team. Venti going to claim that one for himself. But look at the Gwen damage. It's in again. Funbari going to have to kite this one out. Justin going to go down. XP's health bar dropping just about to 0. Just after Venti's health bar drops to 0. And it looks like NAU is in a position to walk this one in. It's only a Galio and a Hecarim that stands in the way of NAU from claiming the Big Sky title. Bamo will go down. XP&X sure to follow, going to buy a little bit of time with the Zanya's Hourglass, but going to fall just the same to Piccolo. And Northern Arizona University is the best team in the Big Sky. Woo! Well, you know, obviously being a Sac State broadcast here, I'm a little bummed. Big props to NAU. They played a fantastic game today. Clearly, we came in on the day as the better team, the better prepared team, and they were able to outplay the boys in pretty colossal fashion, maintaining their perfect season taking 2-0 victories over all of their opponents thus far. And Sac State going to fall just the same. That'll be a wrap on the Big Sky season. Thanks so much for sticking with us through all of this, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate you all being here and being with us along this journey through the Big Sky Conference here in 2022. And we will see y'all later.